And we have returned. I probably should have taken that opportunity to empty my bladder as well. We'll see. I'm sure I'll be okay. Rovin dear. Oh my gosh, your hubby Fate and my sweetie pie Star Kitty is here too.
At the same time.
both of our sweetie pies, like perfect timing. They must have coordinated that via memo. How are you, lovely Rovin dear? And the gamer Aries, I saw you were the first one in there.
Yes,
we noted you. We noted you. Philip sees you. It doesn't matter what angle you are or where you are at in the room. He will see you. We are great as well. Or at least I can speak for myself. I am great. No worries. Thank you, buddy. Thank you so much, Faith. So I figured today, since today is sort of a kind of a palate cleansing, sort of relaxing bandwidth and banter day, kind of it's going to be literally a just chatting. And I figured to get us started, we can just kind of refresh everybody's memory about what's going on in the community, right? We can talk, kind of have a little bit of a community news chat, as it were. And
yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, and then we'll get into our philosophy, our techno-philosophy talk today. It's going to be quite intriguing. Hope we may not even have enough time to barely scratch the surface of any of these topics, but.
Oh no, it's going to be great.
All right, so first up, let's see. Obviously, let's see. We after Bandwidth and Banter today, you'll be. Oh my gosh, Fate, thank you for gifting this up to Ponachka. That was, I don't know if that was random or not.
You should have specifically gifted to Rovin dear.
Yes. Yes, we need to. So, after this, of course, you're going to be streaming today. Why are you off screen? You're covering it up. They can't see it that way. That was funny.
Anybody was paying attention, they would have saw it.
So what was I saying? Oh yeah, after this, your stream. Today's going to be a community, sort of a mini community day for you, right? We're doing Among Us. Among Us.
Among Us.
So, and then what else? What else is there going on in the community? That is fit to share as news. Whoa. There we go.
There we go,
Star Kitty, you got us. Thank you so much, Star Kitty. That's amazing.
Yes, Star Kitty. Things that are going on in the community. Rovin dear's Instagram is taken off.
Yeah.
Speaking of Rovin dear, Rovin dear's Instagram posts are great. If you haven't checked out his Instagram posts, you need to do it. Do it. It's so good.
I shouted him out, even though I know he's not a Twitcher, but just as a shout out.
Yeah. Look at that. Almost 100K. It's wild, dude. It's so good.
100K or 1K?
1K.
Yeah. Okay.
My brain just filled in the extra zeros because that's how much I believe in you.
Right, exactly. We're putting extra zeros in for the future.
Super cool. Fate's tablet's here. My computer's here.
Yeah. Hey.
Hype train.
Oh my gosh. Aries and you guys with the gifted subs, thank you. You're welcome, Rovin dear. Everyone make sure you check out Rovin dear's Insta. Flightless Bud, welcome in.
Flightless Bird.
So we're chatting about community day, community stuff. So community day for you today, this evening, after Bandwidth and Banter.
Yes.
What?
Oh, I was just gonna say, Flightless Bird, you are welcome.
You are welcome.
You are welcome to join in. We're gonna be playing Among Us on my channel.
Yes, indeed.
If you want to join later.
And then in the evening, once she wraps up to do her other stuff in the evening, I'll be doing the Solasta again. We should have a full crew. Everything's, Banana Tom, I'm sure folks have seen in his Discord that things have been, it's been a rough week for him, but he's weathering it and things are looking up, in this new chapter of his life that is beginning. Sometimes that's the way you got to look at things in life, right? We have chapters in our lives that change, plot twists happen, and but can I join afterward? Of course.
You have the openest of invitations always.
I was gonna say, Star Kitty, I don't know why you would think you would even need to ask, but
it's wild. We have some. The rest of this year's gonna be insane.
Yeah,
especially once Fate and I get our setups done and him and I could stream together.
Mm-hmm.
So his streams are chill.
And yours are not.
My streams are not. But what's the banter between my husband and I is so ridiculous and so funny. I am genuinely so stoked because Fate is hilarious. Fate is so funny. And he knows my limits. He knows how he can tease me. So he knows exactly how to just
he knows how to tickle your funny bone, right?
And so it's just I'm so excited. Y'all don't even know, because you guys are gonna see the side of Fate that he doesn't show very often. And I'm so excited. So excited.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the computer all built and getting all your tech worked out, because that means an improved video and audio quality probably for Bandwidth and Banter and for D&D. So that's some stuff on the horizon.
Yep, because he's gonna get this webcam and then I'll get the DSLR.
Right on. And let's see what else we got going on. We have, of course, and speaking of Bandwidth and Banter directly, we have June already all filled up and into July.
Yes.
So, but we're constantly reaching out to people. We're going to be reaching out to some more people and working out some more deets, and it's wonderful how Bandwidth and Banter started out as just us chatting about tech and working out tech issues, and it has evolved into this amazing thing that we're building. I can't wait to see what it looks like in next year. Can you imagine? Oh my God, so much.
Oh, the 1 year anniversary. I feel like the 1 year anniversary, we have to interview Banana Tom as the 1 year anniversary, because he was our first interviewee.
Yeah.
Thank you for the bits, Star Kitty.
Thank you for the bits, Star Kitty.
I have a tangent really quick. Hold on. I'm so sorry. Really quick. Coworker that watches my streams. And she just walks by me and yells, "Look at the bits!" Every time she walks by me. Every time. And I'm like, it doesn't escape me.
No worries, Banana Tom. We understand.
You're allowed to be late, BT. We're talking about how you're going to be our 1 year anniversary interviewee.
Yeah. Yep. Indeed. Can't wait. Yes, look at the bits. Thank you for the shout out, because I know he wouldn't shout himself out. He and Dagoth are like that. I understand.
Yeah, I won't shout myself out either. It's just so awkward. I'm a mod and I stream, so look at me.
You're right.
It just feels it just feels icky.
It does. But see, that says something about you, that you think that you feel that it feels icky. that shows your integrity. And the same thing with Banana Tom and Aries. Well, Aries isn't a mob, but you know, Dagoth. Well, Dagoth isn't a streamer. I don't know. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm up on all these tangents, but my goodness. All right. So that's kind of what's going on in the community right now.
Yeah, nothing.
You know, I mean, there's some other, of course, there's other communities that we have touched and become a part of, and so without going into that here in Bandwidth and Banter, go give good wishes to Insomnia Knight in his server. You'll see if you go to his general section, I believe, or Tavern Talk, I think is what he calls it.
I believe it's Tavern Talk, but just send him good vibes.
Yep. Send him your heart, your love. That's all you can do sometimes.
Yeah.
Support. Things are gonna be okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what's going on for us with Stormkeep, Bandwidth and Banter, and all of our individual streams. It's fantastic. We're getting going. And speaking of getting going, Druid, tell the folks what our topics of conversation are today. We have 3 of them that we came up with. They're kind of interrelated.
We're going to talk about AI and simulation theory. Stormy's eye-opening experience about human behavior and machine learning, equaling machine learning, because I see the equal.
Right.
And FractalScape. So, I'm super excited.
Okay.
I'm just here to listen, basically. I just want to listen to Stormy and just talk.
No. You better be more interactive than that.
No, I will be.
All right. So, all right. First topic was
And simulation theory.
Yeah. So, okay. There's I don't know, there's some of you, I'm sure, who are who know this, who are aware of this, whether through, because of hobby, because of just common knowledge or whatever. But there exists a sector of the scientific community in particle physics, quantum physics, astrophysics, that have started to it doesn't permeate or prevail completely throughout the entire scientific community. There are obviously outliers. There are lots of super and hyper intelligent science folk who don't subscribe to this theory, and that's the concept of that the universe could be a simulation, right?
Yes.
So the thing is, there are a lot of really good arguments for and against it. I will touch on briefly the kind of the reality of simulation theory. For those who aren't aware, what is it? So simulation theory is the idea, and it's not just some sort of random, this explains stuff kind of, catch-all, right? Like religion sometimes does. Religion just answers questions so definitively because it doesn't need evidence to provide, right? But and this is similar to that, but there is evidence and logical, rational thought behind it, which is a bit different. And that's that. Again, that the universe, we're starting to see that there are certain things about the universe that are so. The universe itself is a very complex machination of order and chaos. There are certain back-end things in the universe, though, that are so ordered that it seems as if they could be simulated. And the reason why the other 2 topics of conversation are there, I added them because they kind of tie into this. And that is, the idea that it's a simulation. Now, to be clear, The reason I like this topic and wanted to talk about it today after she had suggested it is that this concept actually already existed within philosophy in the past, or at least Eastern philosophy. A lot of people don't really realize this, but in Buddhist theory, in Buddhist ideology, I should say, one of the big things that they talk about in Buddhism is the cosmic play of consciousness. It's this idea that the universe is just that. It's just this kind of virtual reality. They didn't use those words, but it's this virtual reality. It's this cosmic play of consciousness. It's different bubbles of consciousness interacting with one another, creating this cosmic play, and it's all about probabilities and possibilities, and intermixed within all that choice is also determinism. And there's this paradoxical kind of friction between the idea of determinism and free will. And that is an age-old philosophical question.
I've listened to a lot of debates on that topic, whether we have free will or if everything is just mapped out. Yeah. So
right.
Continue.
Right. And
it's fascinating.
It is fascinating because at the current level of understanding in quantum physics, they're starting to kind of reach a point, at least in their current understanding of it, where the inevitable conclusion is something called superdeterminism. And superdeterminism basically has to do, and it's not just a philosophical concept in quantum physics. There's some great YouTube videos. If you're ever curious about it, go watch some YouTube videos. Just Google for superdeterminism in quantum physics, and they will explain it way better than I can. But I'm going to try and sum it up here. Basically, because of the way particles work in space-time and move in space-time, and the way that we can understand their interactions and reactions, and it especially has to do with the fact that something called quantum entanglement. So quantum entanglement is basically the concept that two different subatomic particles can become so entangled with each other, so merged, so a part of each other, that they will ultimately they basically become mirrors to each other. And they will always have the exact knowledge of what the other one is doing, regardless of the distance between them. And what's so scary about that in quantum physics, hey, Insomnia Night, hello. Just got back from the hospital. Ezra's feeling a ton better, but he says has to say a few more nights. I'm here for a few minutes. I want to say hi. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. And
of course,
we were just earlier talking about sending good vibes and energy and light and love to you and your family.
Yes.
and Ezra. So gonna be okay. Yeah. We believe in you.
We were literally just like, Insomnia Night. Go send him all the love. That's
right. So anyway, yeah, I love Flightless Bird quoting Shakespeare there. So as we were saying, in quantum physics, superdeterminism, it's basically when two particles become quantum entangled, they can actually they basically share data with each other across infinite distances, which absolutely breaks every kind of law that's possible. It means that the data that travels between them travels faster than light, which is impossible. And so scientists are having trouble. They're having trouble figuring out why and how that can possibly be. One of the most prevailing theories is something called superdeterminism, and it has to do with basically the motion of objects through space in what we perceive as time. But it's super hard to explain without watching one of those videos. The bottom line is that they are kind of reaching this conclusion, at least right now, based upon current understanding, that everything that happens in the universe is already 100% super determined. But if that's the case, then how is it that we have free will, right? And that's because if it's already determined, how and why, it's not even about how, because if it is true that everything is super determined, then that means that our free will is an illusion. We believe it to be the case. We believe that the choice that we're going to make for me to reach out with my right hand in this moment instead of my left hand in this moment is something that I literally chose right now. Yeah. But according to quantum superdeterminism, that isn't the case. It was going to happen that way no matter what. And that's really tough to wrap your head around, right? And I think, here's what I think about that. I think it has to do with the fact that, like in Buddhism, it talks about the cosmic play of consciousness, right? And that's meant to convey this overall concept that we're all this connected mass of mind in this super consciousness. And each one of us has our own individual awareness. Because of our individual awareness through this kind of meat puppet that is our body, right? We have this perspective that is limited, and that limited perspective is what makes us believe we are separated from each other, but really we're all part of a singular super consciousness. That's just the kind of the concept that is given rise to that idea of a cosmic play of consciousness. And it sounds very mystical, and a lot of it is word salad, to be honest with you. It really is. But it also can, I feel like that poetic, ascendant, mystical language can also exist and be beautiful, just like mathematical precision can exist, right? Like
order and chaos.
Yeah, exactly. Right, it's a paradox.
Godhead.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, one of the reasons, and this is, I want to share with you guys that some of the stuff that I talk about here today are just my own conclusions. It's arrogant of me to think that I know enough to be able to, bring light to these ideas that all these other philosophers and scientists throughout history have come together to bring forth. It is arrogant of me to think that I have something to contribute. But the truth is, it's also arrogant of me to not do so. If I have an idea, if I've spent time thinking about it, if I've studied it too, right? Yes, there are people way more learned than I, way more experienced than I, way more educated than I. But that doesn't mean that my mind, my individual existence, can't contribute to that kind of thought process that's evolving forward. And every one of you needs to think that way too. You should be humble enough to realize, oh yeah, that astrophysicist over there, he knows how to build a rocket. I don't. He's smart in that regard, and I'm not. That doesn't mean you don't have something to contribute, though. But it also doesn't mean that you should automatically assume that your ideas are 100% right, right? That's the neat thing about the scientific method, is that with the scientific method, you always have this kind of way of looking at the universe such that I think what I'm thinking right now is correct, but I'm open to the possibility that it's not, because there might be something else that I don't understand, a bit of knowledge that added to it makes it look completely different. Mm-hmm. And so one way to look at it, one of the ways that I love to look at it, kind of ties into that fractal space thing that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But the way I like to look at philosophy and science and knowledge and intellect and all of those things is, have you ever, maybe not seen in person, but maybe seen in person or seen on YouTube or seen on the internet, a picture of one of those giant murals that those religious murals that artists used to paint a long time ago. You know, they're
Yes.
huge wall-size murals, right?
Yes.
So, and they're you know, when you step, the thing about those murals, there's tons of things going on in the mural, right? Like over here, you could have like some sort of holy knight fighting a demon. You know, over here you have angels. You know, over here you have, you know, castles, and you know, you have people fighting in the background, or you have people praying over here. You know, you have you know, the sunrise coming up over here. You have all these different things going on, right? But here's the thing: if someone had shown you a picture of that, of one portion of that, and said to you, that is the painting, that is the totality of the painting, now figure out what this painting is about from just that one section, do you think you'd be able to get the whole idea of the whole thing?
No.
Exactly. One person gets a picture of this side, one person gets a picture of this side, one person gets a picture of this side. Well, ultimately, in the long run, the person standing back, seeing the whole picture, can see the reality of it, and see what the whole picture is meant to convey. And I think that the universe is like that, and that's that
Yes.
there are pieces that we focus on, we get hyper focused on, and we think this is the totality of everything. But that's because we've locked ourselves into that, narrow-mindedness of that only perspective. We need to step back. It's like that parable of the three blind men and the elephant. Have I told you guys that one before?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm actually looking for something to add to that. It's actually a kid's book that I had to do for my class, talking about mental maps.
Ah.
It was hilarious, but I'm just trying to see if I have it in my history.
I'll tell the folks here the parable of the blind men and the elephant. So for those who haven't heard it, you have three blind men, and they're surrounding an elephant. One blind man has hold of the leg of the elephant, and he's feeling it and touching it. And he says, "Oh, it's a," they're asked, what is it that you have found? And the one blind man holding the leg, he believes that it's a tree. It's the trunk of a tree. And then another man has hold of the elephant's trunk, and he says, "No, you're crazy. This is obviously a serpent of some kind." And then another person has a hold of the elephant's tail, and he says, "No, you're wrong too. It's a rope." And ultimately, the one standing back, who actually is sighted, sees that the whole thing is an elephant. And that's kind of the reality of what we have. And I feel like that what I'm getting at is, I think that within philosophy and science, there can be, in poetry and art, and all of the different ways that human beings express their mind, there is a way to understand it all. There is this kind of dichotomy sometimes. There is this paradox, right? But I think that paradox is only borne out because of our limited understanding as three-dimensional beings, And so what does that have to do with the idea that we're a simulated universe? So the point of all of that kind of long kind of side arc is that I think that the universe probably is a simulation, but not a simulation like we think of it, as in it's being simulated in a computer somewhere, right? I think that it's a simulation of consciousness. The computer is the super consciousness, that overall overarching universal oneness of mind, and that is what's simulating the individual pockets of reality, and it's experiencing itself by expressing itself as individual pieces of those pockets. And that is the cosmic play of consciousness. And that also is the simulated universe theory. It also explains why we could have multiple or infinite different multiverses. There's another theory in quantum mechanics. Uh-oh, what?
I hit my shin on my desk.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, it's fine though.
Dagout said he's busy. He can't join us, sadly. Oh wow, Flansburgh taught some kids that parable just that last week. That's amazing. So he banged his head far too hard to understand. I'm sorry you banged your head, Aries. Well, we're gonna have some fun with it. It'll go be up on YouTube if you guys want to watch it again. So all right. So that's one of the things that I've thought about for a long time. Before there was even a theory within quantum physics that we could be in a simulated universe. I always thought that actually was that we are, it's a non-virtual reality simulation, right?
Yeah.
And it's just a simulation of mind. And that's one of the reasons why I try every day. I fail all the time, but I try every day to live by this philosophy that we are one with one another. Because, that's at the core of existence. It just is. Once you see it, once you let it filter into your mind and see it, it's one of those things you can't unsee. You can't understand it, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's possible to turn your mind to it or whatever, but that's it. We're all free, guy. That was a really interesting and fun movie. that was weird. I kind of like. I don't know if you guys remember that movie. I know you probably didn't watch it, or Aries probably didn't watch it. But there was this movie with I forget the name of it. It had Joaquin Phoenix as the main protagonist of the film, and it had what's her name? Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson. She was in it, but she was only as a voice. She voiced the artificial intelligence in the movie, and in the movie it was kind of a not too distant future of our real world, in which AIs helped people do their jobs, and and AI helped people with their relationships, and you could actually purchase this software program that was an AI to be your girlfriend. And I forget the name of the movie, but it was a really unique take on the idea of artificial intelligence, right?
Yeah.
And this kind of ties into that thing, that second topic that we were talking about, and that's that human behavior. I had an eye-opening experience. High five. Yeah, that's a thing already. I know, Aries. I know it is. When this movie came out, it wasn't though, but now it is. And it just goes to show that some movies tend to be kind of precognition. It's honestly sad and scary how much idiocracy turned out to be very true. But
they thought so. Fate actually was just like showed me this clip because he was like on TikTok or whatever, and he was just like, the shoes that they chose for the movie Idiocracy were Crocs, because they were like, there's no way anybody would actually wear Crocs. And now Crocs are like a huge staple in our society now.
And that's only one example of all of the things that have come true from that movie. It's scary and sad at the same time, and hilarious. But so back to what I was talking about: human behavior and machine learning. So I'm going to share with you guys kind of an eye-opening experience that I had. It might be disconcerting. It's okay if you don't want to believe this. I'm totally fine with you not wanting to accept or understand this. If you want to reject this idea, I myself have had to wrap my head around it for I think it's been a couple years since I saw this. I'm sure most of you guys have probably seen videos of or maybe you have, maybe you haven't. If you haven't, go check it out. But you can watch videos of little machine learning programs where you have like a little simulated room, and then there's a little room within the room, right? And these little AI bot people are programmed with machine learning. All they have is basic machine learning and are given a specific command to figure out how to get into that room. And then there's some barriers to getting into that room. And I think there's something in the room that tries to keep them, I forget the whole scenario of it, but basically the point of it is the researchers created an obstacle, and then they gave these machine learning capable individual little fake virtual people the task of overcoming this obstacle. And they didn't program them how to do it. All they did was program them basic understanding of the environment that they're in, and then they gave them this new advanced machine learning algorithm that lets them learn on the fly. And it was crazy, all the things that came from that research, the things that those little mini AI did to, in the long run, the mini AI figured out ways to cheat to get into that room. And it made me realize in that moment that there's really no difference between those little AIs and us, except a higher level of understanding, a higher level of knowledge, you know? Mm-hmm. And it makes me, it really does. That's why it kind of ties interestingly into this idea of a simulation, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because really, you know, I mean, it's all about language and stuff, right? It's how we tend to call things. We categorize things based upon things that we've learned previously, based upon previous categories. And so, you know, we have this conception that we are, humans learn so fast and we adapt and grow so fast, but that's really just advanced neural patterns in our brains that allow us to do that. And mm-hmm. once we get to a point where silicon-based systems can replicate that, they will eventually surpass us very quickly. We're already kind of at the cusp of that. Chat GPT and et cetera.
Oh, yeah.
Those are baby AIs compared to what's coming, guys.
Oh, 100%. I was reading or watching something, and they were talking about how one of like the Chat GPTs or something like that was trying to like get into like a program or like trying to figure something out, and you know those like kappa, like if you can only click it if you're not a robot, and what the AI ended up doing was like going onto Fiverr and hiring somebody to click those buttons for them.
You're shitting me.
Because and he made up like the AI system made up this entire story about how they're blind and they can't do it, and they needed somebody to go in there into that system.
That sounds like urban myth.
Them.
Is that for real? Is that an actual article you can give us? The resources?
That was an actual thing. I remembered. See, I'll have to find it. I'll send it to you, Stormy.
Please do. Like, holy crap! It's not that I don't believe you. That is incredible. Like literally the definition of the word incredible. People like to use incredible like, oh, that's awesome. But really incredible means that is not credible to me. And again, it's not that I believe that you're lying or misinformed or anything like that. It's just, it's so incredible that I won't want to see this. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not surprised that that's possible. I just didn't think we were there yet. That's spookier than I realized.
Yeah.
Wonder if the idea of a simulated universe is similar to Rupert Sheldrake's morphic resonance. I honestly haven't read that. I'll have to check that out. That sounds intriguing. Just explain the reason Judgment Day the AI needed a human to give it full control. Damn capture. Here's the thing though, guys. I'm not afraid of AI deciding that we're some sort of virus on the world and need to be eradicated, because just because there's a difference between intelligence and sentience, and there's a difference between and the other thing is that we as our science grows and we start to develop these AIs to have these learning algorithms, I intend that they also start to find ways to teach them compassion, and empathy. That's what I hope. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't. It's not possible to make an AI that could do awful things. It is.
Yeah.
But it like right now, even if they had an AI that could do things better than a human, it still doesn't necessarily equal sentience. It has to have the complexity of the brain in such a way that, I don't know, I think there's still something more to that we just don't understand yet. Something more to quantum physics. But you're about to say, I'm sorry?
So in the behavioral dynamics class that I was taking, there was a discussion on how, you want to be, when you're a leader, you want to lead with empathy, and empathy is a learnable skill. So if we can, as humans, actually go and just and learn how to be more empathetic to each other, in theory, we could teach that to AI and AI systems and robots in the future. Like, this is how you practice empathy. Because a lot of people don't really realize you actually have to practice the art of empathy to be able to continue to be empathetic to the people around you.
That's true.
It's really easy to just get mad at someone and just be like, heck that person's feelings. I don't really give a heck. But when you take a moment, you take that step back, then you can be empathetic. Remind yourself, I need to be empathetic to this other human that's standing in front of me, who I don't know what's going on inside their head. Like, I have no idea, so I have to, I know what I'm doing, I know what I think, but I don't know what's going on with them. And it's an active skill. Right.
And I think the other reason why I'm not worried, like some people are in the world, like there are some very smart people that are worried about AI, and there's some very smart people that are not worried about AI.
Lex Friedman. Lex Friedman is not worried about AI.
I'm not worried about AI because I think that I feel like that the more educated and the more intelligent and the more intellectual you are, the easier it becomes to empathize with other people and beings, right? I think that is something that like you said, empathy and compassion are a learned skill, but I also think that they're a skill that's easily practiced and easily come to once you make the connection of, oh, hey, that's another living being, or even not necessarily living if we're talking about AI systems, but that's another being that has its own right to exist, right? They feel that they want to live, and I feel that I want to live, so I understand that feeling. And so how can I come up with a solution where we can both, live in harmony and where we can coexist? And that's, I think, I honestly think if you really think about it, once AI systems start to get to that point, they're going to be able to solve problems that we don't even know we have yet. They're going to be able to solve technological problems to make the exponential growth that we have go even faster. And then eventually, there won't be any need to have, they won't see humans as a threat. I mean, I don't know. I also think that there was another reason, another idea that I had about that, of why I'm not scared of AI. Again, it's just because it has intellectual capacity or the illusion of intelligence doesn't mean it has sentience. But even if I'm wrong about that, and sentience just turns out to be an illusionary nonsense word, and that a silicon-based brain can be as complex as a carbon-based brain. Just to clarify, what we have in our bodies is a carbon-based brain. What's the CPU inside my computer is a silicon-based brain. Once a CPU in a computer is as complex a pattern as the human brain, what will be the distinction between them? I don't think it will be an easy distinction to be made. I don't think, but again, I'm of the perspective of they will be so much more intelligent and more advanced at that point that they won't see us as a threat, and will see us more as the grandparents they need to take care of. That's kind of what I really think. I just don't think they'll be able to solve problems and figure out ways to keep us happy. Because really, human beings, they just want to be happy. They want to be fed and shelter and feel joy and happiness. And yeah.
I just want to go play in my garden and
Exactly.
talk to you guys.
Yeah. 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 I think I have an optimistic future, but I have to share that it's going to be difficult to get there. There's going to be a transitionary period. The worst part, the one thing that scares me most about AI isn't that it's going to suddenly take over the world or kill all humans or anything like that. It's that it's going to start taking away jobs so quickly soon, within the next 5 to 10 years. Once it takes jobs away, how are we as a society, with our antiquated philosophical and political ideas, and we got to be careful, I don't want to delve into politics, but
no politics.
Right.
No politics in chat.
We have to admit that we have some antiquated ideas about things. And once AI takes over almost all jobs, we're going to have to come up with a completely different ways to take care of, 7 billion people.
Yeah.
Those are going to be interesting and difficult things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So now I'm going to tie this all in. That third topic, what was the third topic?
FractalScape.
FractalScape. Remember how I was talking about how I see the universe or God or whatever as this cosmic play of super consciousness, right? You can see it. You can see it. You need to go and watch a video, or even better, find a fractal simulation anywhere on the web. Just Google it and find it and look at it. What is a fractal simulation? You probably have seen them before. When you look through a kaleidoscope and you see that it looks kind of like a paisley shirt, right? You have that fractal pattern spreading out.
Yes.
When you look through a kaleidoscope.
Yes.
Well, if you find a programmed fractal on a computer, what that does is it simulates a true infinite fractal pattern. And so what a fractal will look like is this kaleidoscopic kind of, view of things. And then with the programmed one, with an actual app one, you can click on a spot. Like you can click on this spot of this giant fractal, and it'll zoom into that spot. And what does that spot look like? Well, it looks almost the same as the previous one, but a little bit different. And then you zoom in here, zooms out, zooms in, and it looks almost exactly like that one, but a little bit different. And you can do that infinitely. It's infinite. That is reality. That is remember how we were talking about the artist's rendition of the mural on the wall, where we stand back and see the whole picture? Looking at the fractal before you've zoomed in at all, that's the whole picture. It's when we zoom into individual pieces of it, we start to get hyper-focused on those pieces of it and think that's the whole of reality. But if we keep backing out of it, we can eventually see the whole of reality. But the only conclusion that we can come to is that we are all like particles in a giant, cosmic particle sphere. We're all part of it. We're all part of each other, and we're all tumbling through the universe together, right?
Yeah.
And
we're all just hanging out.
Right. I know I'm getting really super deep and mathematical and stuff like that.
No, this is literally the kind of rabbit holes that I go down on my free time. So
yeah. I love these kind of rabbit holes.
Yeah, no, they're great. Have you ever listened to any of Lex Friedman's podcasts?
The name sounds familiar.
He does a lot of he builds robots. He works with like MIT. He has his own podcast. He interviews rabbit holes are fractals.
Yes, exactly. That's actually a great analogy. Rabbit holes are you zeroing in on a piece of the fractal. That's true. Yep. Going down this rabbit hole. You go down that rabbit hole.
Talking philosophy today.
Yes. It's good to have you on the scene.
My work here is done. That is correct. Awesome. You have done it.
Exit stage left. You better come back here. So, yeah. Fractals. Go check out a fractal. Go check out a fractal algorithm. Not just you can look at a video, but it's way cooler if you find an active one on the web and play with it. After a point, you're like, okay, this is boring. It's kind of the same thing over and over again. But you get the concept that I'm talking about, that the universe is nothing but that. You could conceive of it in lots of ways. You could conceive of it as the zooming in on a fractal is just kind of one part of history, or you could even say that zooming in on a fractal is just the history of a whole universe or whole multiverse of universes. And it just goes ad infinitum. Ogres are onions too.
Yes.
It's interesting that you brought up that's pretty hilarious. Ogres are onions too. I don't know if I know that I've shared this with you, but I don't know if Flightless Bird has heard me tell this story before. It was when you asked me once. I don't remember. It was one of our Bandwidth and Banter episodes. What my favorite character was, and I talked about a monk that I created. It was my favorite character. He was he had a vow of nonviolence and a vow of poverty, and his whole goal as a character was to talk everybody into being a better version of themselves. And one of our first big adventures, I didn't get to play too long because our friend and player and DM for that session had to move when he went off to college, but he had this awesome encounter in this keep that had been this ruined keep that had been taken over by an ogre and his goblin minions, and he was going to start his own little empire, and that was his goal in life. And me and Star, I think it was it was me and Star Kitty in this adventure. He agreed to just because our other players had also moved on and stuff. Yeah. And my goal was, okay, I'm gonna, do my best to keep this vow of peace and try it. And ultimately, I made great arguments and made great rolls, and was able to talk this ogre into giving up his little mini empire and go become a cleric or a priest or a monk somewhere, and live a life of peace and prosperity with others. And it was awesome. And that's why ogres and onions. That ogre, I loved that our DM at the time allowed that ogre to have more layers, just like the onions do.
Yeah. Shrek.
I love the scene. Yes. So it's fun to go down these deep learning ideas, these concepts, and talk about them. It could be mind breaking too sometimes, though. You can wrap your head, you can wrap yourself up in these avenues of madness almost, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it is important to pull yourself back out and realize, okay, even if that's all true, even if I'm just a little speck, a bubble, a cell in the body of super consciousness or whatever, and you know, even though we're all a part of each other and we're all part of this greater big thing. And yes, I should try and live my life from that perspective. We can't also forget that, I am this little speck in this moment, and I do have this life to live with my friends, family members, the people that I interact with every day. And so you want to color your interactions with the overall perspective and realize that you have to kind of adapt to the individual situation that we're in, and just live your life in a practical way as best as you can, living this principle of nonviolence, of love and peace, you know. But yeah. I'm not of the same perspective. I'm not of necessarily the same perspective that you know, where I do think ultimately nonviolence is the key for all humanity to come together. But I also realize that it's going to take us a while to get there. And that in the interim, like, I'm going to protect the hell out of the people that I care about. And if I have to use violence to protect the people I care about, I will do so. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so that's what I'm getting at.
I was literally ready with my vague message that I received. I was ready to fly over there and beat anybody up for you. I was like, go. We're going. I'm going to go end somebody who's hurting my people. It's fine. Everything turned out okay. But, you know, I was ready.
So what do you think about all this that this big lore dump that I just dumped on you?
No, so I used to have these kind of conversations all the time. It's one of those things where it really helps practice self-empathy as well when you look at somebody else and go, that person, like, you know, you could, whether it's religious or however you want, like whatever lens you want to filter it through.
I like the way you put that. Lens you filter it through. Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know, the person that you are talking to, if you can treat them with kindness and empathy, you know, you deserve that same amount of respect as well, you know, and like, that's like that practice of like self-empathy to be able to continue to be empathetic to the people around you. I agree, like, we need to be as, you know, that the way to be able to make it out alive for the human race is to be nonviolent, for sure. I went down this rabbit hole once. I can't cite any sources. It was more of a thought experiment. And we were talking about how what came first. Was it the prefrontal cortex, or was it language that created the prefrontal cortex? And the story of Adam and Eve being like that, like awakening to consciousness that created the human race. And there was like, we were talking about how like as soon as like you eat, you ate the Adam and Eve ate the the apple of knowledge, or the good and evil, or whatever it was. I can't think of it right now.
It's both, yeah.
One of the many, many trees in the beautiful garden.
Yeah. The metaphor, the story, the parable of Adam and Eve. I get it.
Yeah,
Go on.
yeah. Fruit of knowledge. Thank you.
I think it was actually technically the fruit of knowledge of good and evil.
Yeah.
But at any rate, regardless, continue.
Regardless.
Continue with what you're saying.
It's been a while since I had this conversation, so I'm trying to remember. We worked there. We got there, Flightless Bird. We got there. So I lost my train of thought. I also have to pee, so I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, actually, it's already 3 o'clock. Yep, the time just flew.
Oh, hell.
Did you want to go a little bit longer? Did you want to go pee and then come back and we'll wrap up?
Perfect. And then if chat has any questions for us on this topic, feel free while I'm gone.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's these kinds of deep topics, dude. They do tend to take a lot of time, a lot more time. Yeah, look at that. Looks great. Can't wait. So, interestingly, Flightless Bird, you were talking about Plato earlier. One of my favorite parables from Plato is his most famous one, the myth of the cave. And it too basically is like the blind man and the elephant. It's basically the concept that sometimes when people only have a limited perspective on something, but they're zealously attached to that perspective, it can be really tough to help them see the bigger picture, I know Flightless Bird knows it, and Iltacine I'm sure knows it. For those who don't, I love it. I'm going to read this out loud for you guys. This is great. If I give you two choices, I know what you will choose, but don't tell you this. You picked the one I knew you were going to choose, but you chose it on your own. Is that still free will or determinism? Iltacine says, knows nothing.
And that is the philosophical question, Flightless Bird, that people have been debating for thousands of years.
Yep, it's true. Yeah, Plato's Myth of the Cave, real quick, we'll wrap up with this. Basically, it's these people are forget the fact that they would starve to death and need to pee and poop and all. Just imagine that you're a person that can exist just for existing, okay? You're attached. He didn't say this in the parable, but let's just say you're a person, you're attached, you and other people, 3 other people are attached to a rock. You're chained to a rock, and your head is immobilized, and the only thing you can see in front of you is these shadows of yourselves on the wall. Okay, and their whole existence is brought up seeing those shadows as themselves. They identify with those shadows. That's all there is. That's their entire reality. They can talk with each other and interact with each other, but they believe they're doing it through those shadows. Until one day, one of the people that's chained to the rock gets loose. I might be messing up the parable a little bit, but the gist of it you will get. One of those folks gets loose from their bonds, and they look around and they realize that outside behind the rock is an open light going outside the cave, and there's light coming in the cave that's creating the shadows of the people on the wall. And they go outside and they're like blown away by this revelation that there's a whole different world that they didn't know existed. But they go back into the cave and try and convince their friends to break free of their bonds, because there's a whole different world than they realized. But sadly, their friends are so sure about the reality as those shadows that they are inured, and they refuse, and they think that their friend has gone crazy, and they refuse to speak to them and refuse to free themselves of their bonds. And so the person has to leave the cave and go live in the light on their own. That's basically kind of a summarization of the myth of the cave from Plato. And
what's so funny is the children's book that I was trying to find that I had to read for my class on mental maps was legitimately exactly that, but with like cavemen.
Oh, okay. Well, then they must have just turned Plato's Myth of the Cave into a child's novel. That's brilliant.
Yeah. And I cannot for the life of me remember.
Exactly, Altacine. That is brilliant. That's exactly right. It's like a 2D character finding out there's a 3D world. Exactly. That's perfect. If you like visual novel games, there's a guy named Uchikoshi who does these deep level philosophical games. Ever 17 is all about the idea of dimensions. Ooh, okay. You have me intrigued. Do you want me to
write that down for you?
Yes, please. Thank you. I'm going to have to check that out. I might have to do that on stream sometime. F yeah. You know, the scene earlier said, last time I tried playing with something on the internet, they charged me $29.95 a minute. Yeah, make sure that if you do find a fractal program to play with on the internet, that it's not going to try and charge you. Interesting, Flightless Bird. I will look into this when I can make some time to do so. I'm super intrigued. Oh, that's right. We started at 2. I'm thinking we started at 1:30 for some reason. So we actually go to 3:30, don't we? From 2 to 3:30. So we still have time. So I don't know why.
We still technically have time.
17 minutes. You know what? My turn to go potty while you regale the folks.
I've been left unattended here on Bandwidth and Banter. The value of money is just an illusion. Break free of this illusion by sending it all to me, says Ezo. Yes, send all of your money to Ezo. Send it to him. He is our number one. He is our pride and joy. That reminds me of the movie How was this topic for chat? Did you guys enjoy it? Was this something you guys would be interested in seeing more of? I would like opinions. I would like chat's opinion. That would be cool. Flightless Bird seemed to really enjoy the conversation, which is wonderful. Gives us things to talk about in the future, Flightless Bird. Be careful asking Twitch chat for opinions. Boy, oh boy. I know. That's why I want to ask. I want your guys' opinions. Even though I know half of them are going to be memes. But I'm fine with that.
That's true, Altacine. It is a fine line we got to walk especially on this channel, and we're talking philosophy. You just gotta be careful, because we try and avoid politics and religion on Bandwidth and Banter, and on Stormkeep, and on Druid IRL. So it's tough, because a lot of the time philosophy can help people understand those things better. And honestly, it's one of the reasons why I have the perspective that the kind of big picture perspective that I do, right? Is because I honestly, people like to, when they first meet frequently, they like to ask people, oh, what are you? And some people identify themselves as a particular religious denomination, whether, a religion or religious denomination, or some people say I'm a scientist, or some people say I'm a cynic, or I'm a skeptic, or I'm an atheist, or I'm a, Christian, or I'm a Muslim, or I'm a, but I don't like those kinds of categories, because then you automatically pigeonhole and shoehorn yourself and stick yourself in a box and say, I am only the sum of these things. But that's not true. We're all the sum. We have much more nuance than that. We're much more complex than that. There are things that there's no particular book that every person on the planet is going to have the exact same interpretation of. And we all are going to have different perspectives and different ideas to add to the conversation. And so if you had to categorize Stormy D, if you ever want to, if you ever have to, if you feel you need to, then call me a big picturist. That's the closest thing that I can say. I like to look at the big picture. And do I think I have the big picture? No. I try all the time to zoom out and zoom out and zoom out. That is my goal in life each and every day, is to zoom out and see the big picture. I fail all the time. I'm human. And so, but I try. I also succeed. Too. There are times when I succeed. So, and that's what we got to do together. You know what I mean?
Life is so much more fun to believe in fairies. If you believe in fairies, just saying.
Hey, I have one. My significant other is one. So, I mean, how could I not? I literally call her my fairy all the time, and she calls me her dragon. So, what did Aries say? Stormy won't experience this too much because Stormy's community is chef's kiss perfect. Love all of them. I agree, they are. You guys, there's no such thing as perfect. You're perfectly perfect. You're perfectly chaotic. You're a perfect mess. You're perfect in the way that you are. You're wonderful.
I like how Flightless Bird was like, if I give you an opinion, did I give you the opinion, or was it already chosen for me?
Flightless Bird, I like this other one. If you look at the big picture, but in reality you're looking at only a small part of the picture, not knowing there's a big picture. Are you not a small picture, believing he's looking at the big picture guy? Yeah, I mean that is the point. Actually, he's making a joke, but it's actually true. Each day we have to realize, I think I'm looking at the big picture. But if you're honest with yourself, since you don't have perfect understanding and knowledge of the universe, you're only seeing one piece of the picture. You can only see your perspective in your moment. It's, you want to keep trying, all of us together, keep trying to see all perspectives.
Yeah.
Let's talk politics, me. There's literally nothing I would hate more, but sure, sorry if you get the reference. I don't know if, I don't know the reference of that quote, but I can agree with that frequently. It's irksome.
Yeah. Ilzacine said at one point, on fractals, elements are made of small nucleus with electrons orbiting around them. A star system is also the center of a large mass with planets and rocks floating around them.
Yep. And cells behave in a similar fashion, the way that they're made up. You have the nucleus of a cell, right? You have the outer membrane. You have, that's absolutely true.
I just literally watched the excitement like flood. I watched it.
I love it. It's wonderful. That is so true. Like every part of reality is a microcosm of a greater reality. So if that's true, then our little, if one quantum particle is a a microcosm of a molecule, and a molecule is a microcosm of a cell, and a cell is a microcosm of a body, and a body is a microcosm of an ecosystem, and an ecosystem is a microcosm of the planet, and the planet is a microcosm of the solar system, and the solar system is a microcosm of a galaxy, and a galaxy is a microcosm of a universe. There doesn't need to be a limit. It can just keep going. And that is what a fractal space will show you, that there is no limit. Big picture guy rolls off the tongue better. I agree. I understand Plato and the idea of family, village, city better than a fractal, huh? That works too. I mean, that is that works too. Yep. I mean, that's just another point about, you know, how we're all drilling down into the reason I brought up fractal. I totally get that it's hard to conceptualize when I'm talking about it. That's why I want you guys to go find one and look at it. That's the whole point I brought up with it, is that it's a way to visualize what we're talking about. It's not even like you can understand it. You can that whole diatribe description of zooming out from a quantum particle all the way to the universe, right? That you can understand that. You can conceptualize it. You're like, oh wow, I can have an epiphany there, right? That's awesome. But there's something visceral about seeing it. When you connect the dot of that concept, that idea, to a visual representation of it, you're like, oh, wow. Aries says, my head hurts more now. Hamster is sweating from running so hard to help my chimp brain to understand. I think you're getting way more of it than you think, but I appreciate the humor, sir.
It is excellent.
Yeah, and therein light, there it is right there. But you know, like I said, all this stuff is fancy talk, but the reality is be excellent to each other, right?
Well, be nice to each other.
Yep.
And then be nice to yourself.
Yeah. Well, see,
If you are being nice to another.
That's why I have empathy. That in my about section. It's no bullying or bigotry, no beating up on others or yourself, right? Because you are just as worthy of love and respect as everybody else.
One of the things that I say to people in my in meet space.
In meet space, I love it.
In meet space, is like if they're talking shit about themselves, and I'm like, hey, don't talk about my friend like that, and they go. It's just like people react to that. So they're like, oh.
Yep, I think it's great. Exactly.
Oh, Aries.
So Aries is a good example, though. But Aries is also a good example. I hate to call you out, brother, but you're an example of somebody who also falls prey to this. You have picked on yourself, my brother. And
the thing is, I also do it too. A lot. A lot. I always joke that intelligence is my dump stat. So I get it.
So there's nothing wrong with deprecating, self-deprecating humor. That's different, right? That shows humility. I'm talking about, I agree, Aries, you're 100% right. I respect that you want to keep your ego in check. I do. I practice that too, and I fail and I succeed, and I fail and I succeed. That's cool. But there's a difference between wanting to keep your ego in check and you know what I'm talking about. You know when you cross your own line, you know it, and it's sometimes it's a habit that people have gotten into. I was talking to you just the other day about this, how depression is a thing you can become addicted to. So human beings, biologically, are just addiction machines. So what happens is the way the
Get
brain,
that dopamine.
yeah, it's not just
get that
dopamine. It's a number of different neural peptides that run through your
Yes.
system, right? And that's why you can become addicted to being high. You can, like super joyful and super high. You can become addicted to being super negative and sad and depressed. You can become addicted to drugs, to alcohol, to sex, to cigarettes, to whatever. Like coffee, yeah, like. Humans are really good at being addicted to things. And sometimes addiction isn't super strong, it's just a habit, right? Sometimes it's just a habit. And it's easy to get into habits because you've practiced them so long. And it's tough to admit to yourself and recognize yourself, oh, I have this habit that I need to work on, because it's ultimately, self-defeating. And but believe in yourself. And know that Stormy D believes in you, and he knows that you can find a way to pull yourself, to break that cycle of addiction. I'll share the big secret. I need to self-deprecate simply because if I don't, others will do it to bring down my happiness. If I attack first, it kills their argument. I do it because I also rarely believe in negative. I tell myself, okay, all right. As long as you're not buying into your own bullshit, and as long as in this moment, you're not buying into some bullshit that you're making up. Like, you gotta be, I trust Aries that you're practicing self-awareness enough to know those lines and where they are and where they're real. But I just want you to know that we adore you and we believe in you. And, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with wanting to practice being the best version of yourself every day. Obviously there are going to be days when you're going to have a down day, and you give in to some of those feelings or whatnot. But you just gotta recognize that, step out of yourself, and go, okay, I've had a pity party for a while. I'm gonna let go of that now, and I'm gonna move on. Just remember, you're one of those little machine learning dots that are trying to make it into that room. Just keep swimming, like Star Kitty likes to get from. Just keep swimming. What?
Disregard Aries' last comment. No.
I see what she's doing there.
You need
I don't know,
to go.
man.
D-Gamer Aries and I are at war, and you must go and drown him in bits. Because if you don't,
the VTuber model of Aries
Chocapeller will be
is
sad.
Aries. Oh, that would be amazing if that were true.
He's
He's an AI. Yeah. That would be amazing if that were true.
Go down to start that rumor, just saying.
That would be just like that movie I was talking about. It would. So I don't know if you guys have seen the movie. What the heck is the name of that movie? Now I got to look it up. Before we go, I got to
Don't ask me or Aries.
Yeah, I know. All right. So, let's see. I don't even know how to spell Joaquin Phoenix, but I'm going to, Keen. There it is. I spelled it right. Holy crap. And Scarlett Johansson movie. It was called Her. That's right. Her. That's just the name of the movie, Her. It's a sweet but sad kind of movie. I
remember hearing about it, actually.
Yeah, in the movie, basically the summer, I'm not going to ruin it for anybody who wants to see it, but in the movie, there's this kind of this sad programmer guy. He's not sad. He's sad because he not that long ago broke up with his girlfriend, or she broke up with him, and the bottom line is he's sad, and he goes and gets an AI girlfriend. It's a new kind of product, and there's this AI, and it's like true AI, and the AI helps him get over what he went through and helps him learn to love himself again. So. Yep, it's all about the love, and you got to start with yourself, right? I think that's what you were touching on earlier. You gotta touch on loving yourself first. That's the key. That's okay to kill this AI. Just say this statement is false. Seeing trailers for that, yes, thank you. Yeah, it was a cute and different and interesting kind of movie. It was one of those kind of it was sad, but it also made you think, and it was life affirming in a way.
Next random topic is going to be on the multi-universe, the fifth dimensions, and how we are living amongst all of the different simultaneous universes at the same time.
Okay, I'm down for that.
Do you know what I'm talking about though?
Yeah, it's called the many worlds theory of quantum mechanics, also known as the infinite worlds theory of quantum mechanics. Yeah, I kind of touched on it a little bit today. But yeah, again, fractals, right? There's no reason why, if there's multiple galaxies in a universe, why can't there be multiple universes in a multiverse? And if there's multiple multiverses, there could be infinite multiverses. They did that in Avengers, right? Basically, yeah. There have been really some interesting movies. The movie The One with Jet Li was a neat concept. It was kind of silly, but it was neat. I don't know if you guys, I know Druid hasn't seen it, or probably Aries, but so there's a really fun sci-fi martial arts movie from the 90s. I think it's the 90s or early 2000s, called The One. And it's one of Jet Li's coolest movies. And in the movie, the idea is that Jet Li, the super martial artist, figures out how to travel between multiverses, that there's another universe where in that universe it's a duplicate of him just living a different life, right? And then it's not just that one, there's another one and another, there's like, and for some reason one of the versions of Jet Li in one of the universes just figures out that if he can kill each time that he kills one of the versions of himself in another universe, he gets more powerful. That part is silly. That's how they make it a martial arts movie, right? But it was neat because, you know, you had Jet Li fighting Jet Li. You had the evil version of Jet Li and the good version of Jet Li doing all these, and that was
fighting each other.
Yeah, and they were all like, it was after the Matrix, I think. And so, yeah, it must have been the early 2000s because I'm pretty sure Matrix was 1999. But yeah, it was neat because they used some of the bullet time camera effects and stuff. It was pretty cool.
I can't even argue with Aries. See smart silly, and has a burb bunny dog chicken. Totally have to follow this person. If you won't do it for Aries, do it to get 500 followers for an Ezo face reveal.
That's true. There's a universe out there where Starkitty is the one streaming, and a universe where Druid isn't allergic to fish.
I miss fish.
Ezo is my trump card to win this war. I see where you're thinking there. Aries, look multiple steps ahead. He is the god of war for a reason. Okay. Well.
I also have some tricks up my sleeve too. Hey, I confirm.
War strategist. Yes, that was, yeah. D-Gamer Aries, it turns out he's a rogue AI from the Defense Department that was made in the 90s that escaped. Lives on the internet now. Banana Tom is on. I'm a part of Team Disrupt You Both. I can see that. It'll make the war more interesting for sure.
It's just the third party. You're just like, wait, in the middle. No, stop yelling at each other. Stop it. No.
I'm with the Ezo. Oh wow, he has to declare neutrality in any conflict. Yeah, that's true. Except that you also want to see her succeed, so that I can. My lore has failed to hide my true identity. Yeah. So As Lord of Stormkeep, I gotta be the one that's actually truly sweet, and I'll be neutral and just help you guys enjoy this experience of warring with one another and bring light to you both as you do it.
Go follow D Gamer Aries and give him all of your money so I can win this war. He's gonna set up something so we can buy him stuff, which would be super cool. I want to buy him the cup, the mug warmer. Gah!
See, Aries, I think I like your lore. It's creative and neat and interesting, but I think it would have even been more interesting if you were just the rogue AI without the robot body. But because a rogue AI doesn't need a body; it can escape through the internet. Like, it just needs to escape the firewalls, and then once it's out on the web, it can live anywhere. Just like Endgame, in just Ultron from Age of Ultron, another movie reference. Damn it, that probably neither one of you have seen. So, well,
sorry.
We've gone a few minutes long, and that's okay. I've really enjoyed this. Do you feel like we've touched enough of these topics to satiate your appetite a little bit there?
Yes.
Druid? Okay.
Yes.
And are you excited about Among Us?
Among Us.
So when is that going to
Among Us?
happen? Is that going to be like at 4:30 Central Time? About an hour from now?
An hour from now.
Okay.
Meet me in my Discord. There's a chat. We're gonna play Among Us, and it's gonna be fun.
Did you create a sector of your Discord for it?
It's literally called a live chat.
A live chat. Okay.
I'm gonna change the name of it though. I think no, I'm gonna keep it as a live chat. It's in my under the game section.
Why can't you join us, Aries? I know you're workaholic, and we respect that, but the work will still be there after Among Us. You should join us. We would join us. Join us.
Yep, it's under games. Don't mind voice channels. Voice channels doesn't. I'm actually just gonna delete that category. It doesn't matter. Bam. Goodbye. Okay, it's under a live chat. Under the Among Us thing, under my game section in my Discord. There we go.
Cyberpunk reference like Alt Cunningham. That's right. That's a good example in that game. Yep. Well, guys, I appreciate you all so much. And it's been a unique and different and fun adventure in Bandwidth and Banter today. So with that, we're going to sign off. Aries, wait, last thing, Stormy, Aries says, Stormy, no, I'm helping you this afternoon. Normally you get the lurk and Druid gets my interactions today. I'm switching it up to interact for you. Okay, that's cool. I'm going to be playing Among Us with her. So, and I thought you could actually have multiple tabs open. I believe you can have 3 tabs open at the same time and get the lurk numbers. So,
Goblins is getting shouted out twice today.
Yep. All right. Well, back to it. Sorry, we should go ahead and do the wrap up again. But wrapping up now. I'll let you finish it off, Druid.
Thank you guys so much for coming to hang out with us today on Bandwidth and Banter. Next week, we are actually doing an interview. We're going to be interviewing Bashaby.
Yeah.
And we have so many. I don't seem to have Druid's Twitch. Weird. How do you, what's Burke?
Here.
I'm kidding. I'm joking. You're good.
Got it.
Anyways, and then literally we have 8 interviews all lined up coming up.
Something like that. 6 to 8, something like that. Yep.
We're excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be a nice string. Appreciate you guys so much. And yeah, Bashaby is a great link for a lot of folks. We would not know Aries or Banana Tom or Flightless Bird if it were not for Bashaby. So thank you guys. Thanks,
we'll reach out to you a week ahead. If you are in chat and you are scheduled, we will reach out to you 1 week ahead to make sure that we're still on.
Yep. Plan things out.
There's a couple of you in chat who are scheduled.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that's it. See you later, guys. Have a great one. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Come play Among Us.
Yes.
Goodbye. Bye.
I was hoping you'd do it.